This is PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Trevis tested waters, help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you PlayerProps.ai. This for winners research. We run it up with every betting tool you know in each perk. Trevis tested waters, help you swim even the feet first. Now strategies and all you need to help you eat.
Hey guys, it's me Trevis with PlayerProps.ai, and this is what we're looking at for NFL Week 4 Survivor. If you guys have not tuned into any of the previous episodes, I am in the world's largest Survivor pool, which, as you see on top of my face, or top of the head, it says $18.7 million to the last Survivor. That is not a typo, that is not a error, that is the actual prize pool for the last Survivor. And of course, if there's multiple people that are able to go 20-0, well, then they split it. There's a handful of people that split it last year. Now, I said 20-0. Not 18-0. There are 18 weeks of the NFL season, but the Circa Survivor that pays $18 million plus to first place has a little extra twist to it, where you not only have to pick the weeks that border Thanksgiving Day games and Christmas Day games, but you also have to pick games specifically on those days, which is what you kind of can see here. You have to pick a Week 12 team, pick a Turkey Day team, and also pick a Week 13 team. You have to pick Week 16, a team specifically playing on Christmas, and then a team on Week 17, which collectively is 20-0. And if you've been paying attention to what I've been doing, we are currently 3-0 in the Survivor and still alive with our one single entry that we started with. Week 1, we did Arizona. Week 2, we, thanks to Brandon Aubrey having a 64-yard leg, skirted by in Week 2 the Cowboys. And then yesterday, which was definitely the most popular pick from everybody and pretty much all Survivor pools, Seattle Seahawks. They were up like 28-0 in the first, and I was like, all right, as long as there's not the most epic collapse of all time, this is nowhere near the sweat that Dallas Cowboys was the week before. So now that we're in Week 4, let's go ahead and see what we're going to be doing. So a quick recap on, I record this on Monday, and you see Baltimore in the middle of the screen is gray or white. That's because that game hasn't played yet. So tonight, if the Detroit Lions upset Baltimore, it will knock out another 30 entries for this big, massive Circa Survivor. If you look at the bottom right, there were 13 people that either forgot about it or simply did not get an entry in time, so they lit their $1,000 on fire. Top left, you see the Seattle pick that we went with. 39.3% of those people in this massive contest went with Seattle. We almost had Tampa Bay. If you didn't pay attention to that game, Tampa Bay had a field goal blocked in return for a touchdown. The Jets were up by 1 point with just like a minute left. They kicked the game-winning field goal to win, but that would have knocked out 12% of the entire pool. Luckily, the Browns won and the Panthers won to knock out 17.7% just between those two. So it wasn't if Tampa Bay would have lost, it would have been a nice little bloodbath that we've been waiting for. But 17.7 still a pretty good chunk of people getting eliminated. If you look in the top left of the screen right now, here it says, so in this massive contest that pays $18 million to the last Survivor, there's 18,717 total entries. That doesn't mean people. There are only 5,225 people, but you're able to have up to 10 entries in this contest. So of all of those entries, the 18,717, as of the second, there are 13,811 left. So we're still waiting for that pretty massive bloodbath where like the top few teams that are not ours, hopefully, get eliminated, take out a chunk. So let's see here. So what we normally have been doing on the show is we click the week 4, so we sort by spreads, and then we also pay attention to the right side, that FSV. This here, if you don't remember what these numbers mean, it's simply taking all of the spreads the entire season and adding them together. So a team with a higher negative number means they're going to be favored in a lot of things, which in this case, Buffalo is probably number 2 out of all the teams that are favored. The lower number, the less favored they are. And if they have a positive number, it means there's a lot of games this season where they are the underdog. So paying attention to that. We are probably not touching the Buffalo Bills, even though they're a over 2 touchdown favorite against the Saints, because they are favored in every single game they play this season, which if you add all the spreads up, it comes to minus 122. So we don't want to use the high negative FSV teams, because those are the teams we can use later on. What we've been doing so far this season, and what has worked out for us, is we're picking teams that have a very, very low positive number, or a high positive number, or a low negative number, because that means that they're not going to have a lot of matchups later on in the season that we want to target. So we have Buffalo versus New Orleans, minus 122. We're going to save that. Detroit versus Cleveland, who just upset the Packers. The Lions are minus 8.5 as of this second, but they're minus 64, which means they're favored in a lot of games. I mean, they're a 10.5 point favorite against the Giants here. Dallas minus 6.5, Pittsburgh minus 7, Chicago minus 5.5. So this is a team that we can rely on later in the season. We go one more down. We have the Denver Broncos, who are versing Cincinnati Bengals. I believe Joe Burrow is not playing again in this game, and Browning has been abysmal. I think he leads the league in interceptions, even though he's only played 6 quarters. If we quickly do an eye scan and check out every other game they play, the Denver Broncos will never be, correction. I was going to say the Denver Broncos won't be disfavored for the rest of the season, but I just noticed the Giants, that they are favored on week 7. And they also have a touchdown favorite here against the Jets, 7 points, 8 points. So this is the 2 games we would also consider them for. This heavily is dependent on who is at quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. Another thing to note is you see this percentage to the left. This is how many entries that are still alive have not used this team yet. So if you look here for Buffalo, 97% of entries that are alive haven't used Buffalo. When we go down to Denver, it's 59%. That means that 41% of the entries that are still alive have already chosen the Broncos. So in theory, if we go with the Broncos, and then everybody goes to everything else, and everybody else loses, and the Broncos, let's just say Broncos is the only favored team to win, then that, by default, essentially guarantees at least 41% of the contest is eliminated. So that's something interesting as well, is that there's almost half of the entries left don't even have Denver as an opportunity. We go one more down here to the Houston Texans, who are favored against Cam Ward, who that offense is still looking pretty putrid. Still seeing if he's going to figure things out. If we do a quick scan down the entire pipeline of the Houston Texans, there is no game this season where they are favored by more than a field goal. And this game, on week 4, they're favored by a touchdown. They are the first favored team, or the highest favored team, week 4, that has a positive FSV, which is, again, what we're kind of looking for. But I personally, I have mental scars from the last 2 years. 2 years ago, I believe it was CJ Stroud's rookie year. It was the Houston Texans. I picked the Bengals to beat the Houston Texans. They're pretty decent favorites, and CJ Stroud showed us who he really was, and he upset the Bengals. And then last year, I'm very confident I chose a team to beat the Bengals, or something. It had something to do with the Bengals. I have to go back and look, but yeah, whatever that was, the Bengals won, and so that knocked me out of that. So I've made it to like the halfway point of the season, with both of the last 2 years. And I believe both of those games involved Houston and Cincinnati. So this Denver versus Cincinnati and this Houston versus Tennessee, it's kind of tickling the funny bone on the alert, the caution tapes coming out, the red flags saying, hey, remember these teams kind of screwed you the last few years. So maybe we'll keep looking. I don't know. Let's see what else we got here. The Chargers just lost their starting running back, J.K. Dobbins, I believe, for the season. I believe he tore his ACL. So they're a little bit weaker on that front, but Hampton is still a legit running back. But I mean, they're going to be favored by 2 touchdowns. Oh, wait, no, it's Green Bay. A touchdown against Minnesota, touchdown against Tennessee, touchdown against the Raiders, and then a roughly touchdown against Houston. So we don't have to force them here. We can use them later on. Let's see. Green Bay's got plenty of games later this season where they're favored by a lot. New England over Carolina. Carolina just had that massive upset. So I think the only ones that are really in play here, yeah, we don't want to use the Chargers. They have too many opportunities later on. So it looks like, and we're not using Detroit or Buffalo. So it's literally coming down to the Broncos or the Texans. I would assume that the 41% of entries that can't do Denver because they've already used them, I can only assume that they're going the Houston Texans here against Tennessee. Question, so the spreads is Denver minus 7.5 and Houston minus 7. So the spreads are relatively close to each other. So the question becomes, which team... I mean, so the Tennessee Titans, they don't have injuries. They just have a rookie quarterback who's trying to figure his crap out. The Bengals have injuries, which is why Browning's playing. And again, he leads the league in interceptions, and he's only played 6 quarters. And so it's very unlikely that we're going to get the opportunity to play Denver against a backup quarterback that has shown that he sucks the rest of the season. Like, I would never bet that there's going to be a starting quarterback that's hurt and like on their roster or on their schedule for the rest of the season. So this might be the opportunity to get that bloodbath scenario we're looking for by going Denver over Cincinnati. And then because 41% of people can't touch Denver, have everyone else, like hopefully Houston being the popular one, maybe Tennessee, maybe like Tennessee has Cam Ward figure his crap out and he can beat Houston and knock out a lot of entries. And I know that they have a touchdown favor against the Jets and the Giants, but who's to say that these spreads don't shrink because this quarterback is more Justin Fields. Let's say he's back and healthy. He's clicking a little bit better. Let's say the Giants start Jackson Dart by this point, week 7, and he's a lot better than Russell Wilson. And then maybe Geno Smith starts to figure his crap out. He had a really great connection, 3 touchdowns to Trey Tucker yesterday. So I think we have to take advantage of the injury and focus on Bo Nix outdueling Jake Browning, I believe that's his name. So I think that's what we're going to be doing here for this week. Denver does play on Christmas, but there's no way in the world that we're choosing Denver over Kansas City on Christmas Day. So we don't need to worry about like stashing them for the holidays. But I think this is the route we're going to go. And we don't need Browning to throw interceptions. I still think that Denver is a better offense and defensive team than the Bengals. So I think that's what we're going to do here for week 4. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of this YouTube video, or just let me know in the NFL Survivor channel and Discord, which if you are someone who bets on sports and doesn't just play NFL Survivor stuff, it's very important to your betting success that you join our Discord. It's the most helpful betting Discord on the planet. There's a free version you can join, and you can simply ask questions, share what you're looking at before you lock it in, which is always the most important part. If you lock in a bet and then you show the bet that's locked in saying, what do you guys think? We're all going to tell you it's bad, more than likely. So do not lock in something before you share it in the Discord. Find it, share it, get feedback, and then if we're all in agreement that you're using the PlayerProps.ai app correctly to find winning and optimal plays, then go from there. But get in the Discord, get the app. There's a lot of free stuff that's available to you. And good luck with your Survivor picks. See you in the next one.